What's up, guys? Jamie here, and I'm sorry I haven't done a video in a month. I have been really busy with school. I mean, all of you have been back in school probably for a month or two, and I just haven't been I just haven't felt like it, and I just haven't done it. But no, now I'm gonna get back into it, and there's gonna be a video up at least once a week. I'm going to wrestling on October 31st, so there'll be a video up for that. Look out for me on TV. And then I'm going again December 26th, so there'll be a video up for that. But for this month, there will definitely be a video up for my wrestling. Well, it'll be a video in November because October 31st is the end of the month. But I am back uploading more videos. I was going to do a school haul, but I just never uploaded it. But I think I am going to upload it either this week or next week for something. But yeah, anyways, as always, here is who always does these videos with me. Would you like to say hi?
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Raz. You can tell how much I love WWE because I'm literally missing the Ohio State Indiana game right now. Thank goodness for DVR. But only WWE gives me these problems. So just wanted to throw that out there to be funny. But yeah.
All right, so, do you want to say anything else before we start?
No, I was just going to say we picked a good day to come back and do a show, though, because there's a lot going on right now.
Oh, there is. So I'm sure you all have definitely heard the news. WWE has bought TNA's content library, and Raz and I were having a big discussion on that through messages and on a little bit talking, but we wanted to save what we were going to say for here. And there's also talks of WWE buying other content, and I just want to say how interesting that is. And I want to say how great that is that WWE has bought TNA's content library, because now they have the name, now they can use it, now they can show all features on the network. And we get, how WWE never liked to mention TNA, and we can't see some of the great stuff that the wrestlers like AJ Styles and Sting, because a lot of their career was there, we couldn't see before, and they wouldn't even mention, because they would only mention maybe Ring of Honor and New Japan and everything with the other guys. But now we actually get to see that content and get to watch it whenever we feel like it, and it's going to be great because now that's a part of the history, and a big chunk of that was missing because it was in TNA, and WWE will not mention TNA at all. Well, I mean, it could be a chance between dying, mention TNA to save your life, and they would die. Like, that's how much they would never mention TNA. Am I right, Raz?
Right. I mean, when AJ debuted, it was all about everything he did everywhere but TNA, and he spent a decade plus in TNA. So
exactly, that's a decade that we would never get to see. You could watch TNA stuff, but that was a big chunk of history missing that WWE wouldn't mention. But now that it's a part of them, they're going to be able to talk about it and show it. And who knows, maybe some guys will come over here. And I just think, Raz and I was saying through text messages, I think it's better that they bought their content, because with content, they already have a lot of content, like on TV, on a physical show. I think adding another show might be too much. They already have SmackDown Live, Raw, and they have NXT, and they have several other shows, even though a lot of us don't watch the other shows. And I think having content is a lot better because it's always there, and you can always add more content. It doesn't get in the way of other content. And like we said, you could do other stuff with content. It's their name now. So much like WCW, obviously they competed with them, but when you're with your competitor, you're not going to advertise their stuff or use their name. But when they bought WCW, like, now it's all over the place. Now they use their merch. Now they use their names for things. Now they sell more content for WCW. I think it's better. Remember our big conversation on messages we were having?
Right.
I think it was Wednesday. It was Wednesday, I think we were having. Yeah. But go ahead.
No, I was just making sure you got all your thoughts out. before I said anything. I love the move of them getting a library, particularly because of how crowded WWE is right now because of all the things you just said. I don't think that them bringing more talent in would necessarily be the best move. And then what all those guys and girls who can't come in, what do they do? So the fact that TNA can get rebranded as a new company, but yet WWE gets the classic stuff, if you want to call it that, or the older stuff that all their guys that are in their company now, particularly like AJ Styles, Bobby Roode, people like that, that they can say, yeah, this was what they did before they were big over here. Samoa Joe's another one. So it will help them from that standpoint. And the really interesting thing about it, though, is the news that came out today, or I guess it was late last night. We both of us didn't see it till this morning, but WB is sending out a survey asking people if they would be willing to pay more for the network if they can strike a deal with these other independent companies to show their content live on the network. And just think how huge that would be. I mean, we say it almost every show about why most of us don't watch certain companies is because we don't have the TV coverage or the means to be able to do that. If there's a higher paid tier that not only gives you WWE owned stuff, but gives you a chance to watch some of these other independent companies and see who these guys are coming up, then that's a built-in way for WWE to scout upcoming talent. It gets you invested in more guys. So when these guys show up on NXT, you're not like, whoa, who's this? You're like, oh, that's so-and-so from ROH or so-and-so from New Japan. And I'm really excited. The first thing I thought about was they've got to get New Japan Pro Wrestling TV. Because if they get that, then we'll have an opportunity to hear Jim Ross again. And so many people can't get that station that they're on right now. So I'm really excited about that. I'm excited for TNA to start over again as a whole. And I'm really excited about the idea of them being an investor more or less in other companies. That's something I never thought they would do. I thought, we said this when the news first broke, I thought if WWE was going to do something with another name on it, they would just buy it outright. But now it just seems like they're being smart about it and they're willing to take profit shares rather than take everything. And I think it makes the wrestling business better as a whole because WWE isn't stupid. They know that a guy is not going to be ready to just walk in their performance center all the time. So by doing this and giving guys more exposure, it helps them decide who they want to pick on, and it helps, or pick up, sorry, not pick on, and who they, the little Freudian slip there, but, it helps them decide who they want to choose to come in, and then it helps the wrestling business as a whole. I mean, I think you're going to grow as a fan. I'm going to grow as a fan. There's going to be so much stuff that we didn't have an opportunity to see before now.
How many times have I said, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. How many times have I said I want to watch Ring of Honor, but I don't have the channel to watch it? But no, I think it's much better to buy somebody's content than their actual, company, because content is already there. You don't have to establish anything. It's already there. And you can do a lot with someone's content. The content is what you're watching. You're not watching the sales. You're not watching, the company being bought and then built up from the ground. You're there to watch the content. And that's why I thought they would buy everything like Raz and I were talking about on Wednesday, but they straight up and bought the content of it. And we weren't surprised that WWE did a deal, period. They're probably, anything that has to do with wrestling, they're at the top of the top already, right there. They literally own everything already. They own, all their content already, pretty much. But I was saying to Raz, I'm not surprised that anything went down. I'm a little bit surprised that they didn't buy the whole thing. I'm not surprised that they bought the content, but I think it's a better idea to buy the content because you can do more with content, you know?
You can, and especially if they take it to the next level and strike these deals with Ring of Honor and Evolve and New Japan and Lucha Underground. It just makes wrestling feel like one giant family instead of WWE being looked at from an outside perspective. I mean, hardcore fans don't look at it that way, but say you're a new wrestling fan and you're trying to decide maybe if you want to get into it, you might have a perception that WWE is a monopoly because they own everything. If they take this approach and literally give you access on their network to anything with the word wrestling behind it, pretty much, it helps wrestling feel like one big giant family and helps them to know that they are just trying to make wrestling succeed and have a future. Because if they're not prepared for the next 10, 15, 20 years, they're in trouble because they have a lot of aging stars. And even the quote unquote new era right now is guys that have been in the business for 10, 15, 18 years already. So I think it's just a brilliant strategy by them and something I never thought would happen. But now that it is possibly going to happen, I've never been more excited to be a wrestling fan. That's how I feel about it. And I don't care. I'm sorry. I don't care if it costs, if it goes from $9.99 to $15, as long as it doesn't cost like $50 or $60, I'll pay whatever they want.
I'm going to go broke, but I am going to buy it.
Right. As long as they don't end up pulling a thing where it costs as much as WrestleMania used to cost to buy on television. If they just raise it from, say, 10 where it is now to 15 or 20 or even 25 would be reasonable, then that everybody will do that. I don't see one person not being able to do that unless they're like younger and then maybe they have to have help doing it. But I think overall it's just going to be everybody's just going to jump on that. I know you and I automatically said that we would. So
yes, we would. Also about the about how you're saying it'll help everybody. WWE is going to still be on top. They wouldn't do something like this if it didn't benefit them.
Right. It does benefit them because they get profit shares from whatever the deal is going to be. And like I said, they get an easy way to keep track of what these other lower tier companies are doing and saying, there's a star in the making. We're going to pluck him over and go to NXT.
Mm-hmm.
So I love it. I think it's fantastic. And there's not much else I can say about it except I hope it happens sooner than later.
Yeah. That's cool. Well, I was going to say before I was interrupted that I don't know what I was going to say. Let me just move on then. No, but I forgot what I was going to say then. As I was saying, that regardless if it helps another company, they're still going to be on top. And they're not going to do anything without it benefiting them. And what I was also going to say, it's sort of like YouTube in a way, because when you're on YouTube, you want to collab and share with other people because that'll help you grow. Even if you're already big, it'll help you grow and it'll help the person that you're with grow. And it'll also be able to expand your audience, even if you are a big YouTuber. It'll help, like you were saying, get your content across. And even though WWE is the king of wrestling, it'll help them. I'm sure their viewership and their money count go up as well. Because again, even if it'll show other content, it'll still keep WWE on top. Like if you buy someone's content, it's much better than even buying their company, because you have the content, and when you have someone's content, you can put out that content and show more, and you can do what you want with their content because it's yours. You know, like I can put out more DVDs of let's say I bought, you know, some of The Walking Dead or own some of the name and own some of certain content. I can start to put all that stuff. I can put it on my shows. I can put it in merch. And also I wanted to kind of compare WWE to Google almost. WWE is sort of like the Google of the wrestling world because they A, own everything, B, it has a lot of money, and C, they're like almost like the search engine when it comes to wrestling. When you go on the network and you search up and you search in other companies, a bunch of other companies will come up if they go through with the deal. And I wanted to say that I'm very excited for everything. But what did you think about what I said?
Oh, I love those analogies. I never thought of it that way, especially the YouTube thing and the collaboration helping them grow because it will help the smaller companies grow and it will help those people who say, well, I don't like WWE because WWE does things that I don't like versus what Ring of Honor does or what have you. They won't be able to say that anymore because WWE is trying to help their company that they like so much. So it really benefits everybody a lot. And it also opens the door because, you know, depending on what they do and the terminology they use for this deal, like let's say that they don't technically own Ring of Honor, but they have the rights to show Ring of Honor content, Ring of Honor.
They own their content TV. Though, so it's much better than owning their company. Go ahead.
Right. And what I was getting at with it was, let's say that's the case, and then so there's no feeling of, oh, this is just another brand for another company. What if they decide to let somebody like an AJ Styles or a Samoa Joe or somebody like that who has a huge history over there and Austin Aries go back over there and do a storyline over there? People would be like, why is this happening? He's still under WWE contract. WWE contract. Why is this happening? So it opens the door for a lot of crossover appeal. And
I don't really like that.
And we get people excited about every product instead of just one. I mean, you don't have to like that idea. That's just something I was thinking about.
Go ahead. I thought you had more.
No, that was it.
Oh, I thought you were going to say more. I don't know. I don't really like crossovers. It's annoying. Like, I would love to see their stuff, but I don't like crossovers. Like, I never liked crossovers. I would kill The Walking Dead if they did some sort of crossover. I don't really like it. Like, they have Fear the Walking Dead and The Walking Dead, and I sort of liked that idea at first, but then I was like, yeah, no. When you own content, it's not flip-flopping all over the place. It's the content that you can deal with. But, no, I was about to say that people say competition brings out, the best in people. But collaboration works really well, too. Like I said, YouTube's full of collaboration, and it benefits a lot of people rather than competition. Competition can bring out the worst in people, and I think that collaboration with other companies is a lot better than, competing with other companies. But no, WWE is going to be on top regardless. And owning content, you own everything pretty much when you have their content because you can do what you want with content. And now that it's on the network, they're even more loaded than they were before. But as cool as a crossover would be, I don't think WWE would like that very much. Because content is much different than it showing on your actual show. If it's crossover, it has nothing to do with content anymore. Like buying their content from, like matches that they've already had. That it would be cool in a way, but at the same time, I wouldn't like it, and I know WWE probably wouldn't like that idea. They're guys wrestling other shows. They want people to be in their company, not theirs, not somebody else's. They normally don't let anybody do anything outside of WWE unless it's benefiting them. Well, they do as long as it's not other wrestling companies. They'll mention slightly other companies, but now that it's their content, they definitely will mention other people. Also, I think you can say people just don't realize. I think now after today, I don't know if people realize how big this makes WWE. They are the like YouTube, Google of the wrestling world.
Right.
Because when you're looking for content, you go to YouTube to buy stuff, to look at stuff, or Google. And then for wrestling, for WWE, you go to them for wrestling, even if there's hundreds of other, companies out there. But go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I really like the way you're putting it because it literally is the one-stop shop. Like you don't have to worry about, oh, I don't have Sinclair Broadcasting Channel, or oh, I don't have El Rey Network, or oh, I don't have Access TV. You literally can go to WWE Network, type in whatever name of whatever company you want, and it's right there. And it's you're not limited anymore to ECW and WCW. If you want to watch something that's technically not WWE, you now will have this opportunity to watch these other things, and it literally just takes the work out of it. It's definitely the wave of the future. I mean, so many people, like, I'm actually trying to convince my family to do it because I just think it's ridiculous the amount of money they charge for cable TV now. So many people just stream because there's so much available to stream. So for wrestling to go this route completely, I think is a great move, and I'm really excited about it, regardless of how it shapes out in the beginning. It's going to be just like the network was when it first started, and if its infancy, it's going to take a minute to figure out, okay, this is what we're going to do, and it'll just keep adding more and more content. They'll get more and more companies seeing how this benefited the companies involved, and I think eventually it'll just, like I said before, I think it's what's going to save wrestling. It's what's going, not that wrestling was in trouble, but I mean, in terms of how people look at wrestling in the future forever, I think this is the best thing that could ever happen to it.
Exactly. Because I've talked to non-wrestling fans, I don't think people realize how big WWE is. If it weren't for WWE, none of this would be happening at all. Like, just saying how big WWE is. People don't realize, just because the viewership might be low, that's, well, it's bad, but I don't think they realize how big WWE is. Even with the viewership low. Do you realize how big, like, they are? Like, what they're doing internally, besides what you see on TV? How huge? I'm pretty sure no one thought that this company would get even remotely as big as it is. Because you have a giant company like that that's buying companies, buying their content, and they're the ones being not used, but being, I guess, demonstrated as the place to go for wrestling, that you can find all that content on WWE Network. But no, I was trying to explain to someone how big WWE is. I'm like, you guys don't realize WWE's been around since the 50s. And I'm like, it's not just about the viewership. Do you see all they do even outside with their company? What Vince is planning constantly all the time. We may give him flack for stuff, but look how big his company is.
What?
Am I right? It's freaking huge. Still.
Exactly. I mean, if you want to go back into the past for a minute and look at the fact that Vince has even been able to have failed endeavors and he's still around. Like, he wanted to see what he could do for an alternative to the NFL product. He created the XFL and it failed. It only lasted a year, but he had enough money and enough influence to convince people to try it. Nobody else is going to have enough guts to say, I'm going to try to compete with the NFL, which is the number one sport in America. Only Vince McMahon would ever have enough power and influence to do that. So he's gone from ushering in the cable TV era, from introducing pay-per-view to now basically saying, I don't have to worry about what other people are doing because my company is so influential that if these other companies want to survive, if my industry wants to survive and thrive, they have to work with me. That's the position that Vince McMahon is in.
And people don't want to admit, but WWE is the center of wrestling. Like I was comparing it to Google. It is the search engine. It is the middle of everything. Because when you go to search for something, you use Google. You don't use, well, some people do, but you go to Google to search to get to other stuff. And that's what you're going to do on the network. But I also wanted to add before I jump into No Mercy that, like I just said, people are saying like competition brought out the best in people. No, collaboration definitely brings out the best because when you collab with everyone, you can do more things with collaboration. If you're just competing with somebody, it's kind of one-sided on both. But when you're collabing, you can give more ideas to each other. You can use their content and do what you want with their content and profit off of that. And not just that, even though I kind of wouldn't like the idea, you can also do kind of crossovers. But I think if they were to do that, they would only do it for where it benefited them. And it would be a crossover where it's to their company, not the other way around.
Right, sure. It would benefit. It would definitely only be a beneficial thing to everybody involved. But I think the bottom line is that, this can only be a good thing. And the only thing I'm worried about, and I'm saying this jokingly, is what are they going to do in terms of like server space? Because the network now is like so huge in terms of what they're trying to hold. If they add all these other companies to the network and have all this content, like where are they going to store it? Like, can you imagine that? They're going to have to be like Netflix in terms of like, they're going to have like a warehouse full of computers to hold all this server power and to figure out how to bounce off all these signals. Like, it's going to be crazy.
I'm sure they could do it. Like, sort of like Apple. They have what?
No, I was just saying to my cousin the other day about joking about Netflix. Can you imagine how servers, so many computers everywhere around? Well, that's how WWE now.
Hey Raz, it's going really wonky on your end. I don't know how it is for people seeing you right now, but because you totally just cut me off when I was talking. I was going, but go ahead, continue your thoughts. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I was going wonky. That's why. Go ahead, continue.
No, I was just saying I was joking around with my cousin the other day about Netflix. I mean, the network is going to be on level with Netflix and like server space and everything that they're going to have to handle all of this content. It's funny to think about.
I'm sure they'll work things out because when they first started the network, I'm pretty sure they didn't think it would really go anywhere or they would really have anything on it. But then it improved. Like, you know how I remember when the network first came out and people were complaining nonstop. Oh my gosh, it's freezing. I can't even get here. I can't even get there. But before you cut me off and it went wonky on your side, I was saying, like, it's like with Apple. They have content. They have creators who come up with all of that to build a better phone, and they do stuff to improve over time, and they see what works, like with their iPhones. They have people, I'm sure at first the first phone didn't have enough memory, and then they worked their way up. Same with WWE. They probably have people for that. That'll improve storage over time. Right now, obviously, they're not going to add 50 new wrestling promotions already. It's probably going to start off TNA, and then they're going to add more TNA content. And once they get all the TNA there, they'll start to add other things. But I don't think they're going to just put everything on there right away. But no, by the way, your comparison with Netflix is so perfect, Raz, because that's literally how I explain what the network is to non-wrestling fans. I'm like, they're like, oh, they asked me something about pay-per-views, and I was like, oh yeah, I just watched the pay-per-views on their network. And I go, WWE, I'm like, the WWE network is like Netflix for wrestling fans. That's how I always explain it. Now it literally will be pretty much Netflix, except for wrestling fans. But go ahead.
Exactly.
And then we'll move on to
Exactly.
No Mercy.
No, that's all. That's all that I wanted to say about it. And I don't think that I just want to say sorry for cutting wonky on my end too. I think it's just like straightening itself out. So I didn't realize that I. But no, I think we pretty much said everything we can say about this, other than just make it happen and make it happen sooner rather than later. Because I'm excited about it.
Yeah, you should have seen me when I was reading it. I was just like, they're buying more stuff. I'm not really surprised though, because they'll own everything. We'll go in more detail about it in a later video. But now, moving on to No Mercy. I totally almost forgot it was tomorrow, and I was like, what's today? Saturday. And I forgot. You know, it's not that I forgot. I just forgot what day it was, and then I was like, wait, when's No Mercy? Sometimes I've been getting, you and I have probably been asking each other back and forth, wait, what pay-per-view is Raw? What pay-per-view is SmackDown? Wait, when's the No Mercy pay-per-view? But now that we have all these pay-per-views, I kind of get confused sometimes. I don't know about you. I'm just like, wait, it's tomorrow, right? Go ahead.
I think that what they've is better. They've started to really talk about the other very much until one pay-per-view is done. But literally the first two pay-per-views, Raw was already talking about their not theirs as to what was going on.
Hey, Raz, are you like uploading something? Because your side is going like crazy.
Yeah, I'm not uploading anything, but it is going crazy. Let me go out and talk for a second.
Okay. Anyways, Raz is going to come right back in, and then he's going to come out and then go back in because his end is probably acting a bit strange. But yes, No Mercy is tomorrow night, and it is a SmackDown pay-per-view. And I just wanted to say that I love the split. I do. It definitely makes you want to tune in. You know what I mean? I know some storylines are aggravating and the viewership is low, but for me, if I want to see things on WWE's, if I want to see a specific wrestler, I have to watch Raw. And if, let's say, I want to see AJ Styles, I have to tune in to watch SmackDown. Like, I like the split, and I like the idea of, you know, a split pay-per-view because now everybody gets time. And even though, and with SmackDown also, they don't showcase all of the wrestlers on one night. Sometimes you have to wait until next week to see, like, you know, the hype, not the hype bros. You have to see Dean Ambrose. Let's say Dean Ambrose doesn't come in that week. You have to look forward for him to next week. You know what I'm trying to say? Anyways, as much as I like the split in a way, I don't like how there are so many pay-per-views. I was saying with Raz that there was too many already before the split, and now we have one that are like 2 to 3 weeks apart. Because after this pay-per-view, we have a pay-per-view October 30th, which is only in like what, 2 weeks, 3 weeks away. And by the way, the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view October 30th, the day after, I'll be on Monday Night Raw. I'll be watching. So look out for me in the crowd. No, but as I was saying, I'm going to re-explain again. I like the split, but I do not like how we have so many pay-per-views. But like on SmackDown, unlike Raw, Raw showcases all the wrestlers on Raw. But if you do want to continue to see some of those guys, you have to tune in next week again on Raw. Like, Raw guys are only to Raw. And for SmackDown, they don't showcase everybody. So, like, if you want to see, let's say, Dean Ambrose, let's say Dean Ambrose didn't show up that week. You have to wait the next week to see him. But anyways, I think this pay-per-view looks okay. I mean, they may surprise us because they've done that before. And SmackDown's more of the wrestling. But I do like how they brought back some of the names, though. But anyways, how are you doing on your end, Raz? What were you going to say before your stuff got all wonky?
I'm am I good now? Are we good?
A little bit.
Okay.
Oh, well, go ahead. I don't want to interrupt you.
Whole entire browser makes a difference. Hold on. I'll be back.
Okay, well, we'll just continue to what I was saying. The card on here, some of the matches have had a great build. Some of them, not so much. Some of them, I didn't even know were on there. But I do like the fact that the pay-per-views are also split. Because it makes you look forward to seeing certain guys that you can see on Raw or vice versa. Because if you want to see certain guys, you have to turn into shows. And if some guys don't show up that week, you have to watch next week so you can see them. That's what I was trying to explain. Anyways, I like the pay-per-view name. I'm glad they're bringing some of that back. And I absolutely love the some of the matches on there. But like I was saying to Raz before he came, this pay-per-view doesn't have too much, but that doesn't mean it won't be a good show. You know, obviously we would look forward to AJ Styles versus Dean Ambrose versus John Cena. Obviously, we would look forward to that. There's probably some other parts on there. I, for one, am looking forward to, obviously, John Cena versus Dean versus AJ Styles. That's going to be great. I'm actually always also looking forward to Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt. I think the two of them together feuding is very interesting. They're both two very interesting characters, especially Bray Wyatt. The two of them together. I like this feud. It's something different. You know what I mean? You normally have like a Randy Orton versus John Cena rivalry or something, but Bray Wyatt works so well with pretty much everybody, and he is one of those guys that's just very interesting. And there's so many guys. He works well as a singles competitor too, by the way, that I want Bray Wyatt to work with. AJ Styles. There's guys on Raw that I also would love for him to face. Like, can you imagine him working with who else do we have on there? But no, seriously, Bray Wyatt I love very much, or Randy Orton, and there's so many combination of guys for Randy and Bray Wyatt that I would like to see face. But right now, we're getting on to predictions. So Raz is having technical difficulties, but I'm gonna try to think of who else I would like. Bray Wyatt, AJ Styles. I saw them kind of like having a confrontation. Who else? Bray Wyatt. Bray would work with a lot of guys. I just can't think off the top of my head right now. Dean Ambrose we've had, right? I like Dean Ambrose and Bray Wyatt and AJ Styles. We've had Bray Wyatt and John Cena. But anyways, so getting back to what I was going to say, I like AJ Styles versus Dean versus John Cena. I like the match Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt. I think they've had an interesting feud back, and especially some of the segments that they've had have been quite interesting. One of the matches I'm also looking forward to is pretty much seeing Alexa Bliss. I'm really happy that she has a title. What's the word? Title shot. She's great. And Raz, as you will know when he eventually comes back, that he's great for Becky Lynch. He loves her. And the Intercontinental Championship, Miz versus Ziggler, has an interesting stipulation as well. Hi, Raz. Is it all good for you on your end?
Yeah, it seems to be now.
Oh, it's good now. You're good.
Yeah, it seems to be now. I don't know. Jimmy will tell you, I literally do these live
Streams all the time, and he's having issues.
Yes, but of course, someone would decide to have.
You did it. You're doing it again. All right, we're just gonna say our quick predictions because Raz is having issues over there. So, as I was saying, the stipulation for Mrs. versus Ziggler is quite interesting. But before we get into that completely, I won't go in any particular order. I'll save obviously the main event for last. So, first match, which you're gonna go for. Jack Swagger versus Baron Corbin kickoff match. Your predictions. Your best friend, Baron Corbin.
Yeah, Swagger in this match.
You're skipping, by the way, still. Raz.
All right.
Having so much issues. I don't know what's going on. So Jack Swagger versus Baron Corbin. Raz's best friend. I think that. Are you still there or did you leave? You left. Okay. Anyways, I don't know what's going on with Raz's thing, but all right. So as I was saying, Intercontinental Championship, The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler. I think the stipulation is quite interesting because is he really leaving? There's rumors that he is. I know. Hold on. And the build for this has been great, and I think both guys are very underappreciated and can have a lot of potential. So, also, by the way, Heath is so freaking funny and so entertaining. I think it's great. But I'm not really too into seeing the match. But anyways, then there's Nikki Bella versus Carmella. Not really into it. Carmella it was great in NXT, but I just can't get into her on the main roster. And Nikki Bella, I've never been a fan of. I don't hate her, but I don't like her either, you know. All right, so Jack Swagger versus Baron Corbin. I haven't really been paying attention to certain things on shows, so I don't know what it looked more like, but I think Baron Corbin will win. Raz's best friend in the entire world. I don't know what else to say. No, but I haven't really been paying attention to that match in particular. Jack Swagger, though, when he comes out, everybody definitely goes, "We the people." So, anyways, I know I'm coming. I'm doing something. All right, sorry about that. I forgot what I was gonna say. I hate when people interrupt me. For Roz and I always say for a 101 booking or booking 101 that if they come off losing before the show, that person is probably going to win. I don't know what happened before that, but I don't know who came off looking stronger, but I think Baron Corbin will win. Then there's Nikki Bella versus Carmella. I think Nikki Bella will definitely go over because, well, you know, she got a huge pop on SmackDown. But besides that, though, I can't really see Carmella going over simply because she's not really there yet, and she doesn't really get a reaction, and Nikki Bella does, and you know, like Nikki Bella just came back. When people come back, they always get really over and cheered for. So I think she will win. SmackDown's Women's Championship match, Becky Lynch versus Alexa Bliss. Now, the two of them are great, and I absolutely love Alexa Bliss to death. I love her. I love Lolo. She's my queen. But I do not, as much as I would love for her to win, Becky Lynch needs to stay champion. She deserves a long title reign. She finally has gotten, recognition in her time. So that's why I definitely want Becky Lynch to win. I think Becky Lynch will win. She has to. She can't have a small title reign. Next is SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Heath Slater versus the Usos. Now, the Usos to me are still, I think, are more boring now than they were before because they were doing things that were like hyped, not to quote the Hype Brothers or anything, Hype Bros. But although in a way for the Usos, it got me like looking at them a little bit more, I guess you could say. But they're still kind of irrelevant at that point. But no, I don't think they would give it to the Usos. So definitely Heath Slater and Rhino. They're actually really over. Heath, though, he went from like nobody to being the championship. I'm pretty sure a year or two ago, if I said that he would be the tag team champions with Rhino on Raw, not on Raw, on SmackDown, you probably all would laugh at me. So next match, I think Heath Slater and Rhino will retain. Intercontinental Championship, The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler. Now, I actually really like both, and I think Miz is actually a good heel, and he's also really underappreciated. He actually hasn't been a bad champion, and I think he actually works well when he speaks. And also Dolph Ziggler, poor Dolph Ziggler, we've been wanting forever to get the push, and we finally think he is, and then they don't do anything with him, or they just have him lose. And I love Dolph Ziggler, but is he really leaving? Like, I don't know if it means he's going to take a break, because they can't just have a wrestler disappear. They have to write them off in a storyline, just like a character on a television show. If they, unfortunately pass away or they get sick or they hurt themselves, they kind of have to write the character off. So anyways, I don't know if that's what they're doing or if Ziggler is really leaving to go to another company. I don't want to pick The Miz to win because then Ziggler will leave. But then I don't want to pick Dolph Ziggler because I don't think The Miz will lose, because I would love for Ziggler to win, but I can't see The Miz losing his title. Maybe it'll be something where Ziggler will win, but not win the title. That's what I hope for. But I think The Miz will win, unfortunately. But hopefully they do a storyline where, like I just said, Ziggler will win, but not win the championship, like no DQ or something. So next, Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt. Now, this is one of the matches I'm really looking forward to. I love the both of these guys. I think they're amazing, especially Bray Wyatt. And I think both of them wrestling, we haven't really seen too much of them together. So I think they could actually put on a really good match. So Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt. That's a tough one. I don't really know. Because Bray Wyatt has been on a roll, I think. Randy Orton, of course, when somebody comes back after a while, they get cheered and they get like amount of like, attention and pushes, even though Randy Orton's never needed a push necessarily. But I think that I think it would hurt Bray Wyatt more if he lost versus Randy Orton, because Randy Orton's already established, and just the fact that he's back is enough. So I think Bray Wyatt. WWE World Champion AJ Styles versus Dean Ambrose versus John Cena. I love AJ Styles and Dean Ambrose. John Cena, no, # beat up John Cena. They're going to tease John Cena winning like they've already done. I don't think he will, simply because he's taking time off to film what is that called? American Grit? Is that what it's called? And they need some way to kind of write him off for the next month or two. And also, and also because I just dropped my phone. I don't want Cena to win. So I want AJ Styles to absolutely retain because I love AJ Styles. But at the same time, I almost want Dean to win because I loved when Dean had the championship. But I don't want Dean to lose But I don't want AJ Styles to lose either because I don't want him to lose the title, and he deserves a long title reign. I'm leaning more towards, as much as I love Dean Ambrose, I want AJ Styles to retain. As much as I didn't want Dean to lose his title, as much as I definitely like that AJ Styles won, I think AJ needs a longer title reign. Whoever would have thought we would even remotely see him in WWE, never mind with the WWE title. Dean Ambrose, I think, can always win it again, but just the fact that AJ Styles has won it in WWE makes it more interesting. So I definitely think AJ Styles is going to retain. I have to go eat dinner, as you heard him calling me. I don't know what happened to Raz. I think he's having a lot of issues on his end. Maybe he could post his predictions on his channel, or I'll post it in the description, or he'll post it on any of his social media. But those are my predictions. He talked for a good chunk in the beginning, though, about the, WWE buying a lot of content. But yes, I'm going to go. I have to go eat dinner. Comment down below on what we talked about. And I'm back making regular videos. I am very sorry that there are I haven't done a video in a month. So anyways, bye guys. See ya.